Have you ever said to yourself, I'm just going to work a little bit later tonight and then I'll be caught up? Or maybe if I just work on Saturday, then I'll be caught up, right? This concept of I'm going to get caught up and then everything will be better. But here's the thing, getting caught up, I think it's a myth, right? It's not something we can actually do, or at least not for very long, right? I'm going to ask you another question. Have you ever been all caught up in all areas of your life all at the same time? Nope. Yep. I mean, me neither, right? There's no such thing, right? There will always be more. And so getting caught up is this kind of hamster wheel that we put ourselves on where we're like, if only I could get caught up, then I will be able to move on to whatever it is that I wanted to do more than this, right? So let's think about this. What does being caught up actually mean, right? If I think about being caught up, it means that you've got no more to do, right? There's no more emails, there's no more tasks, there's no more to dos, there's no more laundry, there are no more dishes. There's just no more, right? All of a sudden, there's just nothing that you have to do. And I think if this ever happened to me, I might feel blissful for about 2 seconds before I started to feel like maybe life is a little meaningless. I don't know. What is there if there's nothing to strive for, right? Nothing to look forward to, right? It is the fact that we have to make choices about how we spend our time that in fact gives our lives meaning. And I don't say that too lightly, right? But the fact that we get to choose. Not only do we have to choose, that we get to choose. Am I going to spend my time on this or am I going to spend my time on that, right? There isn't going to be this magical day where we're all of a sudden caught up and now we get to do only the things that we want to do for the rest of our lives, right? That is not how it works. Let me give you an example of this, right? I'm an inbox zero person. I get to inbox, zero at least once or twice a day, right? And how long does it stay at inbox zero? Maybe 5 minutes if I'm lucky, maybe 5 seconds if I'm not, right? It's not something that I'm going to be like, well, I'm caught up on email and I will never be not caught up on email again, right? The same thing. All the dishes can be done and then you eat a meal and now there's more dishes, right? The only way to not have more dishes would be to not eat, right? That's not going to happen. That's not life. That's not reality, right? What we don't have control over is what shows up on our plate, right? We don't have control over how many emails we get. We don't have control over how many tasks our boss is asking us to do. We don't have control over all the things our kids want us to do or need from us. Like we don't have control over what is being asked of us. But there is something we do have control over, and that is how we react and how we respond to all of these things, right? If we think about, being caught up, so we think about being caught up, and when I describe being caught up in this way, I bet you're probably thinking, like, yeah, being caught up is not quite a thing if we're talking about, yes, I'm caught up and that means I have nothing else to do. That's not something that will likely happen. But I think what most people mean when they say that they want to get caught up or they're trying to get caught up is that they're seeking this feeling of control, that they want to feel control. And control is something that you can achieve. That is something that you have access to because you have agency as a person, right? You can make the choice about what you want to spend your time on. Now, do those emails have to be answered? Yes. Do the dishes have to be cleaned? Yes. But this relentless pursuit of getting caught up at the expense of everything else, that is not going to be super helpful, right? Because we're never going to reach that magical time when we're caught up. And here's the truth, right? You and I, we could work every day for 18 hours a day for the rest of our lives. And there would still be more work tomorrow. There would still be more emails. There would still be more to-dos. There would still be more dishes. There would still be more dirty laundry. There would still be all of those things. And so every day we need to choose, right? We get to make choices about what we are going to do with our time. Now, can we be more efficient so that we can get more of the things done that we feel like we need to get caught up on and still have time for other things? Yeah, of course we can, right? Like those are things that we can do. But the reality is that this idea of being caught up, and especially the idea of being caught up before we can do things that we enjoy, before we can make time for other things, that is a myth, right? Because that stuff is never going to end. And if you think that someday you will get caught up and then you will do all the things that you wanted to do in life, you will probably die before that time ever happens. And so what does that mean for today? That means for today that we want to make choices about how we want to spend our time. And tomorrow, we want to make choices about how we spend our time. And is some of that time going to be spent in service of the to-dos and the tasks and the laundry and the all of that stuff and the emails? Yeah, of course it is, right? Or for most people, it is. But that also means that you get to choose how you spend other time as well, right? You could put a stopping time at the end of the day where you're going to say, you know what, after this, I'm going to spend time with family, or I'm going to spend time alone, or I'm going to go, if you're like me, to the pottery studio, or whatever that is. But that feeling of control, that's something that you can take. That's something you have agency for. That's something you can bring for yourself. Whereas what shows up on your plate, that's not something you have control over. And so if we're constantly seeking to gain control over something that is not controllable, then we're going to feel like we're in a losing battle. And every day we're going to feel like I'm never going to get caught up. I'm never going to get caught up. If we can just throw this idea of getting caught up out of the window, then we have more agency to make good choices about what we want to do today. Now, if you want to see content like this in your feed, if you want to hear from me, one, give it a like so I know that you like this, and two, make sure to subscribe.
She said it all, but do make sure to subscribe, as only a small percentage of you guys are actually subscribed. So it'd be a big help to the channel if you all subscribed.